You know, if we end up getting Nintendo 64 games on the Nintendo Switch, I can see a lot of people saying that they want games like Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, Smash Bros. 64, maybe a little Conker's Bad Fur Day thrown in there, maybe even throw a little Banjo-Kazooie in there, but I want to see Star Force Gemini on the Nintendo Switch. It's such a classic Nintendo 64 game. Hey guys, it's Rob here, and welcome back to the Robo-Chan Show, where we cover the latest gaming news, leaks, and rumors from Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo in 2020 and beyond. If you want to be kept up on the latest gaming news, make sure you click that red subscribe button below this video and that notification bell so you know when I upload. In this video, we're going to talk about some Nintendo rumors that hit us a while back about Nintendo 64 games on the Nintendo Switch, which is very exciting, and how these Nintendo leaks and rumors and other related topics could point to a Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary, which is also very exciting. So I think if there's one thing that we all want to see on the Nintendo Switch, it's Nintendo 64 games, whether it be a remaster or just emulated like the Super Mario 35th anniversary games. The Nintendo 64 has a ton of great games stuck on the Nintendo 64 and would be great on the Nintendo Switch. Now, a while back you may remember a story going around the time of the release of the Mario 3D collection and how games were emulated on a Nintendo emulator. Video on that in the description if you're interested. But essentially, Nintendo was using an emulator for Super Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy in various ways. It wasn't 100% emulation according to Digital Foundry, but Nintendo did use an emulator, and that emulator gave us some clues within its code that could lead to GameCube and Wii games. But one that I don't think was mentioned was Nintendo 64 games, and apparently on September 15th, some interesting things were found within the 3D All-Stars code, which once again points to Nintendo 64 games or classic games making their way to the Nintendo Switch. And you know what? One of them may really shock you. Now, this is what Twitter user IB-Dashing has found within the Super Mario 3D All-Star source code, and what he says further is very interesting and even more exciting. Kirby 64 renderer, Mario Golf renderer, Mario Story renderer, Mario Tennis renderer, Perfect Dark renderer, which is very weird, and Pokemon Snap renderer. Strings in the 3D All-Stars Nintendo 64 emulator Nintendo Switch Online. This isn't a full list of games, of course, this is simply leftover data that should have been removed, meaning the Nintendo 64 emulator in 3D All-Stars is the same one as the one that will be used on the Nintendo 64 Online. Someone told me it may be data from the N64 VC Wii U emulator, so again, not 100% sure, I'll search for some more info. Now, a couple of things to take from this Mario Story renderer. I don't really know what they could be pointing to unless it's Paper Mario maybe, but the more thing I'm interested in is Perfect Dark. Now, we know that Microsoft does own Perfect Dark right now, and there are even rumors of a whole new game for the Xbox Series X. So it's a little strange to see this listed here, but we also do know that Microsoft and Nintendo have a very weird relationship right now. Microsoft seems to be handing Nintendo the keys to a lot of IPs that they once made for their consoles, like Banjo. So I could definitely see Perfect Dark on the Nintendo 64 for the Nintendo Switch Online service, or even a virtual console like they used to have on the Wii U and Wii. I think I'd like that better so we can buy them individually. And the next one that I want to talk about is Pokemon Snap, and the reason why I find this so interesting is because we're getting a new Pokemon Snap. Now, Pokemon Snap is a popular title, but it's still a niche. But ever since the success of the Nintendo Switch, we have had a lot of new Nintendo Switch fans. So I could definitely see Nintendo re-releasing Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo 64 on the Switch as a way to introduce others to the series. Now, he does go on to say that this isn't the full list of games, so this means that more Nintendo 64 games are possible. Now, whether this is for a virtual console where you buy each title separately, or it's just for the Nintendo Online service is anyone's guess, and that's if this is true anyways, if this has anything to do with any games coming to the Switch. But in my opinion, I'd like to see Nintendo 64 games as a one-time purchase so you can bring back that virtual console like they used to have on the Wii U and the Wii, and of course the 3DS. Now, one thing to consider is that Nintendo does need something extra on the Nintendo Online service so people can buy into it, and those classic games are extra incentive to buy into the Nintendo Switch Online service, so coming from a business standpoint, I can see Nintendo just slapping those on the Nintendo Switch Online service as more incentive to buy into the monthly subscription. But there's one thing I want you guys to consider when it comes to Nintendo emulators, whether it be Nintendo 64, Nintendo GameCube, or Nintendo Wii, and that is the much speculated Legend of Zelda 35th Anniversary. Now, you may be wondering, what the heck does the Legend of Zelda 35th Anniversary have to do with the source code found in the Super Mario 3D collection and the Super Mario 35th Anniversary? Well, it's time to put on that good old detective hat on and try to put two and two together, because this actually makes a lot more sense than you think. So just hear me out for one quick second, because I promise it'll make sense in the end. And if it doesn't, I'll try to explain it to you in the comment section. Now, 2021 will be Zelda's 35th anniversary, but that's not the only reason that leads me to believe that these emulators and findings have to do with the 35th anniversary of Zelda at all. So doing a little digging into this topic, you'll see that people have found some interesting tidbits on trademarks that look suspiciously similar to Mario's trademarks that were renewed for the 35th anniversary. Now, this is what Nazarus07 says about this in his tweet, which by the way, he's the one that found this. Out of nowhere, The Legend of Zelda just registered new trademarks this July, and it covers a lot of classes. This is 99% for next year's Zelda's 35th anniversary. And now here's the kicker, here's the thing that made me think, okay, this is what's happening, I can see what Nintendo is doing. His tweet continues to say this: Mario got a trademark just like this one last year, most likely for Mario's 2020 anniversary. Now the similarities between these trademarks are a ton of products like charms, trading cards, bed covers, joysticks for games, protective films for probably your Nintendo Switch, and other things like that. And that is just for Zelda, just like Mario had with his trademark. So you can kind of see why people were throwing around that whole Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary a while back. Now look, this could be nothing at all, that's always a possibility, but let's just be honest here, that's way too many similarities. Now how does this all come together? How does my theory and speculation fit 2 and 2 together? Well, we know that Nintendo did use an emulator for the Super Mario 3D collection, and we also know that Wind Waker hasn't been on the Switch yet, which that in itself is mind-boggling because we had it on the Wii U. The port would be incredibly easy to make and not take that much time, so why haven't they had it on the Nintendo Switch? What if they're saving that for the Zelda anniversary? Now that's not it, don't leave the video yet because there's more to this. Also, by the way, props to you if you made it this far because people usually only watch about 40% of my videos, despite me putting hours of editing into them. So here's a cookie. I could really go for some cookies right now. Anyways, let's get back to the topic. What if the GameCube emulator, the Wii emulator, and of course the Nintendo 64 emulator are being saved for Zelda's 35th anniversary, which could be released around the time of Breath of the Wild 2, one of the most popular Zelda games in a very long time, released on the Nintendo Switch? That would make for one hell of an anniversary for Zelda. I mean, technically it would be Link, but you guys know what I mean. Now I think the one question that we're all wondering is what games could we see for this anniversary collection? Please remember, we did not only get that 3D collection with Super Mario 64, Super Mario Galaxy, and Mario Sunshine, but we also did get Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser. So will we get 3 Zelda games in a collection and 1 separate game with extra content in it? I think if we do get a Zelda 3D All-Stars or whatever they're gonna be calling it, we could get Wind Waker and we also could get Twilight Princess, and maybe we'll also get Majora's Mask or maybe Ocarina of Time. And how we could possibly see those games brought to us on the Nintendo Switch is through Nintendo's emulator that they use with the Super Mario 3D All-Star games. But you're probably wondering about that other game that is just like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser. Well, if you do remember, Skyward Sword was listed on Amazon, so maybe we're gonna get a Skyward Sword Plus or something along those lines. Now to top all of this off, I just want to remind you guys that this is just me making my theories and speculation off of some of the things that we've already had. This could be all wrong, so like everyone says in their videos, take this with a grain of salt. But if something along this lines are true, I think this could be a pretty exciting year for Zelda fans. Or Link fans, I guess? This is just me putting on my detective hat and speculation goggles and trying to connect 2 and 2 together. So now I told you my theory, what do you think about this mad theory? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and of course subscribe for more gaming videos. Thanks for watching guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.